talking about Missus Productions. So tell us, what was the inspiration? What is your journey that brought you to create such an important initiative?
So I was inspired to create Missus Productions when I was filling out an application for the Fringe Festival. I never ended up actually submitting it, but on the form there was a question of what's the producing company, and I was like, me? Like I don't know. And so it kind of struck me that I'm doing this alone. So why not put a name to my producing? And Mrs. is actually a childhood nickname of mine. I don't remember how I got it, but to this day, I can still be called Mrs. by my family. And so the irony of using this word that is dripping in the patriarchy, but also holds this really special place in my heart, just felt right for the type of work that I knew I wanted Mrs. Productions to be involved with.
I think that's so brilliant, because we were chatting last week, and that is kind of a thing that solo performers or performers that are just putting an idea together, because to enter the Fringe, you just need an idea, a hope and a dream and a thought, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I need a company, and now so what you're doing is so brilliant, because there is so much support needed for artists, and you are really heeding a call that is so necessary. So speaking of heeding the call, tell us about the mandate of Missus Productions, because it's very special. Tell us about it.
So the mandate for Mrs. Productions is to foster and produce new works led by creators of marginalized genders through cultivation, creation, collaboration, and amplification. So to me, there can never be enough opportunities for artists. I truly believe that. And particularly for artists who have been fighting for representation for so long. And so by focusing on highlighting creators of marginalized genders, I want to provide artists like me with performance, creation, and networking opportunities to kind of find this spider web of people who want to make art. It's so important to me to provide a platform to hear stories that are outside of this heteronormative patriarchal world that we're all thrust upon. I think hearing stories that are personal and unique and told by people who don't often get to tell them is what I want to do with Mrs. Productions.
I think that's so great. And like you said, there can never be enough opportunities, especially for those voices who maybe haven't been heard in the past, who need to be heard, who deserve to be heard and have things to say. You've got an event coming up, a great collaboration, the third installment, which we'll get to in a second. We've got Amplified Part 3 coming up this week, September 25th at 7:30 online, and we're going to give you guys the info of how you can check it out. So this is your third collaboration with Creatress. So before we get into Amplified, what is the relationship between Mrs. and Creatress, and how did Amplify come to be?
Absolutely. So in addition to founding Mrs. Productions, I'm also the marketing and production manager of Creatress, which is an online directory that aims to provide visibility to gender minority creatives across Canada. And that's founded by Juliette Jones. So working with Juliette on Creatress, we launched in March, and we wanted to find a way to highlight the work of our members, and we thought we could do a kind of series of events over the summer that would be online, that were aligned with the categories that we represent on the platform. So writers, choreographers, composers. And as our first event was approaching, the Black Lives Matter movement had reached a pinnacle point, and we knew we wanted to reframe this event. And we knew that we wanted to really highlight the voice of artists and creators that were in the BIPOC community. So we reframed, and it became Creatress Amplified, and that was the first iteration of this event. However, we knew that Creatress was never intended to be its own production company, and it wasn't supposed to produce events on its own. We have partners. As we have members, we also have partners, and a lot of them are theater companies. And that was one of the goals that we had, was to partner with these companies. So as I'm on this journey with Creatress, Mrs. Productions officially launched, and it just seemed like a perfect way to kind of work me working with me, but also for something so much bigger than myself. And thus, Amplified Part 2 was born, and that happened at the end of August. And now we're back with Amplified Part 3. So that is how this series has come to be.
I think that's so great. I mean, what a brilliant outcome to have so much to say that it needs to repeat.
For Amplified Part 3, even though it hasn't happened yet, there is something that I'm a little bit excited for, which is that the collaboration aspect of the mandate is really being utilized in this. So in the call for artists that I put out, it was out for the public, and it was also sent to all of the Creatress members. And I tried to make it as simple as possible. I wanted this to be an easily accessible event. I said if there's more than enough interest for a part 2, there will be a part 3, which we're at now. And one of the questions on the little form was, do you want to work alone? Do you have a collaborator? Or do you want to be matched or connected with a collaborator if an artist like also says this? And there are 3 artists that have been connected who I don't think have ever met before, and they will be working, and they're going to be performing a piece that the 3 of them have created specifically for Amplified Part 3. So I'm really excited to see what that new collaboration brings.
So the Amplified 3 is coming up this week. And where can people get tickets? We've got this guy here that we'll put in our Facebook group and on our Instagram, because there's so much talent and so many important stories that are being told. You guys, I hope that you tune in, but tell us a little bit more.
So Amplified Part 3, you can find those pay if what you can tickets on Facebook. There's a Facebook event. I've linked it in the Instagram bio, as Jeni shared. And I'd also just like to mention that all of the events that Missus Productions has produced are also charitable initiatives. So the pay if what you can tickets from a period piece, 50% was donated to Diva Day, which is amazing. And then Amplified Part 2, we donated 50% to Creatress, which is a not-for-profit. So we help with the running costs, but then Creatress also donates 40% of all of that to different community-based organizations. So Amplified Part 2 was donated to Inspire, and Amplified Part 3 will be donated to Arts Can Circle. So with every donation ticket, you're donating to the amazing artists, Creatress, and a charity. So I would love to thank everyone for their donations. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for what you're doing and for your generosity and your, love for community and support of community. It's so beautiful what you're doing. You are just such a wonderful soul. I'm so glad that we got to talk tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us, Jeni. I so appreciate it.
Pleasure. Oh, no, I appreciate it. The pleasure's all mine. And all the best with the show coming up this week. And we look forward to seeing what is coming down the line with Missus Productions. Thank you so much, Emunah.
Thank you.
Bye for now.